All right, guys, welcome back. And now I'm going to break down that PERC method that I described in the welcome video. This is sort of the foundation for all the digital products that I create, and something that I learned not honestly that long ago that really makes a big change. And here's the main concept that I want you to take away from here. People do not buy information. They buy transformation. That's what we want to sell. I don't want to sell somebody a course on how to learn how to quit smoking. I want to sell them, this is going to get you to quit smoking. Doesn't matter what method we do that in. Now, I have learned over the course of the last probably almost 3 years, people value things differently. And that's actually a really interesting thing that I should cover here. I actually wrote this in my book, The Experience Engine. We're trying to create value, right? Transformation is value. Whatever problem you're dealing with now, to not have to deal with that problem would be valuable. So value is saving somebody time and effort, right? If you can save them time and effort, you're going to be in a really good position. So that's what I want to focus on. I want to figure out, how can I save somebody time to get to the end result that they want, or effort, or increase the likelihood that they get where they want to go. So a quit smoking product wouldn't be that hard for me to create. Honestly, at this point, I could probably do it in an hour. I would create that with the goal of, okay, I want to help you quit smoking. I don't care if it's a course, but I want to make it in as short a time period as possible and help you take as little effort to do it as possible. So that's all I'm doing. I am not creating some massive course. This is not like rocket science here. I am not performing studies on thousands of people. I'm referencing all the information that's already out there, thanks to AI, and a little bit of research myself, of course. My experience, which is great because I know how to speak to these people. And I'm putting it in a succinct document, right? So, think about this with anything. But if you're trying to quit smoking and you spent hundreds of dollars on quit smoking tactics and they don't work, and I, for $27, sell you the exact system that I used, proven by science through thousands of studies, because we can reference all those with AI. If I sold you for $27 that solution, you might be very interested, and it might actually help a lot of people. This is where we're going. So now we know to create value, all we have to do is save somebody time and save them effort. So that's what we're going to be doing, is creating a digital product that saves people time and effort. There's two ways to save people time. Number one is by telling them the information that they need so they don't have to find it themselves, right? So if you're trying to quit smoking, hey, instead of going out and reading 1,000 studies, I took all those 1,000 studies and analyzed them. This can be done in any space, which is really cool. I call it a curator method for being a paid creator. So you would curate an experience for other people by going out, researching, and then summarizing for them. There's a lot of value in watching every single Joe Rogan episode and summarizing all the best points. Somebody would buy that from you. So even just in that, saving somebody time is a really valuable thing. So we're going to do that. But the other way that you can save people time is in the deployment of the product that you're creating. Let me explain. If there's two products, right? Let's say there's two product solutions that I could offer. One is 60 modules and 30 hours. On the surface, a lot of people who are watching this video might assume this sounds valuable. It doesn't. Not in a busy world, right? What about 6 steps, 15 minutes per day? I don't care what it is. That's more valuable. This is going to make me infinitely more money than this, because that immediately people go, okay, I've got to put up 30 hours of my time before I get the value from this. This one says, oh, wait, I can get this in 15 minutes. I want it, and I want it now. This is something that we call the power of now. This is actually a cognitive bias that is going to get more people to buy. We're using psychology by making short, easy to consume, easy to execute on digital products. We are actually tapping into mental psychology that makes people buy from us. by eliminating I got to have a course. This is also leveling the playing field for you and I, because now we don't have to make a bunch of training modules. We don't have to be an expert. We don't have to be a PhD. We don't have to be a published author. We don't have to have all these studies. All we need to do is curate the experience that gets people closer to the result that they want. Now, we do that through the PERC method. It sounds bad because PERC is also a nickname for a drug. We're not referencing that. PERC is the setup that I use to create transformation, and that stands for plan. So first, in order to create transformation, you have to have a plan. If you are trying to lose weight, we've got to come up with a plan. First thing we got to do, because you could experiment and throw things at the wall, but never know what's actually happening. And my wife's a great example of this. She's very into holistic natural healing. And she'll go out and get a test, and she'll see, okay, I have chronic fatigue. And she'll get 9 supplements that she heard. Each one of these can help you with chronic fatigue. So maybe she feels a little bit better after a week. But then I say, okay, so which one of those things did you just address? Well, I don't know, because I didn't have a plan. I was just addressing all of it. It got better, but now I don't know which one of those things got better. So now something else might happen because now I'm over supplementing this or whatever. So first we need a plan. The way that I structure a plan that will cause transformation is very simple. So our plan is to first eliminate things. Again, think about any product that you might want to help somebody with. I always tell people to go with sort of the main 3 money-making products. This is actually, I built an entire company around this because I believe that this is where we all live. Financial success or wealth, health, and relationships. If you can choose a product somewhere in there, you're going to make a lot of money. If you choose a product that's just a relationship product, so we might go marriage, okay? Marriage is a really good niche to go into, right? But what if you did marriage wealth planning? This 15-minute, in 1 month you fully executed on it, marriage wealth plan to build to your retirement age 10 years faster. That's a crossover space. Any crossover space is going to make you infinitely more money, because now you're not just helping marriage, which is like, oh, that's a big topic. Well, now I'm actually helping people with a specific need that they have, solving that one specific thing. So again, maybe it's relationship kids mixed with wealth, which is entrepreneurship. And now you've got kid entrepreneurs, and you're teaching them to do that. I think these are phenomenal spaces. That's where I would suggest that you go. So again, maybe relationships and health, maybe there's a crossover there. There's definitely a crossover in wealth and health, some sort of like healthy living standard that also makes you money, get in the best shape of your life while making money. There's a lot you can do here. But the first step to all of it, no matter what it is eliminating. So again, if I was going to make a quit smoking product, what I would do is I would figure out, okay, so when do people smoke? Because that's a habit, right? That's just a thing that they do. We need to eliminate some of that, because you just look at it like a weight loss product or quit smoking, right? Quit smoking product we'll use. If I was going to teach somebody to quit smoking, the first thing I would do is I'd say, quit smoking, right? Eliminate smoking. Okay, well, we got to get a little bit more scientific than that. So how would I do that? Well, what I did when I was going through my journey with it, I would eliminate the habits that I would then go and smoke, right? So for instance, as a smoker, you have these little triggers, like you wake up, some people smoke. You have breakfast, you would smoke. You'd get in the car, you'd light up. You'd have a drink, you would light up. Whatever. If you can eliminate one of those, then you can start this cascading effect. So what I would do in a quit smoking product is I would say, okay, so what you got to do is you got to figure out, when are you smoking? When is your mind triggered to have a cigarette? Every time I sit at my computer. Okay, cool. Eliminate that. Remove that room, right? Go to a different space. Go to a space where you can't smoke, right? Only open your laptop when you're in a place where you can't smoke. The easiest one for me, I was in my early 20s, was I eliminated. I would smoke the heaviest when I would drink. So then I said, okay, so I'm gonna stop drinking as frequently. Well, now I just cut back on almost half my smoking consumption. So now I'm already on my way to actually quitting, right? But here's the important part. Use the example of a diet. If I said I want to lose 10 pounds, the easiest thing to do is eliminate food. Sounds ridiculous, right? Of course, you can't eliminate food. We got to go one notch deeper. What can I eliminate? Well, we can eliminate certain kinds of food. Well, specifically, what kinds of food? Well, I could eliminate anything that has over 10 grams of sugar. I'm not going to have that because I know that that's something that's going to, hinder my ability to lose weight. Eliminate anything that's processed carbohydrates. Eliminate anything that, is super high calorie, whatever it might be. So you as the product creator, you're going to be creating this plan that other people are going to follow, which is why it's important that you at least know something about this space. I don't have to be an expert in metabolism to tell you that if you want to increase your metabolism, you should eliminate foods that slow your metabolism down, right? Again, we're going to be using this method in our prompt. So when you get to the prompt stage, don't worry. It's kind of built into that prompt. It's going to get AI to help you do all of this. Now, the next step to elimination. So again, with a diet, I would never tell somebody, oh, just eliminate food. That'd be awful. And I would never also tell anybody, just eliminate processed carbs. I know for me, recently I've been trying to do more of a keto diet. And keto diet is sort of an elimination diet. It's a dramatic decrease in your total carbohydrate intake. So you're increasing your fats, decreasing your carbs. Well, I created a plan, okay? My plan was to eliminate the snacking, because that's where I got a lot of my carbs from. Was I'd go home, I would have, 6 dried mangoes, and that's turns out it's like 90 grams of carbs. It's ridiculous, but it's crazy. So I would eliminate that. But to make it easier on myself to actually succeed with this, I had to then replace that thing with something else. You never want to just eliminate something. You want to replace it. You're going to help somebody transform whatever it is that you're doing by eliminating bad things that they're doing currently that are stopping them from getting the result that they want and replacing it with something else. This is one of the easiest ways to get momentum in any pursuit that you want. I want to add muscle. Okay, so what can I eliminate from my life that is stopping me from adding muscle? Well, and again, this can look a little different, right? So it's not just like stop doing that. It might be, well, I'm not eating enough protein. So how do I eliminate the lack of protein? How do I start doing that? Well, I'm going to replace low protein foods with high protein foods. Now I'm getting that result. And what this action of these two does when they work together is you're actually creating a new environment. So if I'm trying to quit smoking, I'm going to eliminate drinking. I'm going to replace drinking with some other night activity. And what I found was, again, for me, it was CrossFit, right? By going to the CrossFit gym at noon, I wasn't tempted to smoke beforehand because you don't want to smoke right when you go in the gym. You definitely don't want to smoke right afterwards because your lungs are burning. So I was able to eliminate some of that. And then also by going to CrossFit, I was able to eliminate drinking as often because you don't want to drink and then go work out. So I was able to put this plan in place of like, okay, I'm going to go to CrossFit. I'm going to eliminate 6 pillars, and we're going to get to that next. So number one, I'm going to eliminate from a nutritional standpoint. Then I'm going to eliminate from a habit standpoint. Then I'm going to eliminate from a food standpoint. What can I eliminate? What can I then replace that thing with that then creates the transformation? Because ultimately this is what we want for everybody. Anybody who buys whatever product you're going to create, you want them to create a new way of being. And so that's what this PERC method actually is. We're going to help them come up with a plan. That plan is going to be to eliminate incorrect things, replace it with something better, and create something new. And I love giving examples. So in my parenting product, what I found was I was able to give all this advice on different ways to communicate with your kids. And it all came down to this exact example as well, where like, okay, let's come up with a plan. If I want to communicate better with my kids and I want them to listen and respect me, I need a plan. Because I gotta do this all the time, right? You can't, anything you want transformation, and you can't just do something and hope that you're transformed. You've got to the plan is, let's stick with this for a while. So what I found that was great about this parenting product, and again, I'm no child psychologist, I'm no parent psychologist, I just am a parent, and I took this and I ran with it. It talked a lot about like the way in which you communicate with your kids, trying different strategies. So a great example would be, when you tell your kid to clean their room and they don't do it, instead of yelling, which is sometimes a default from a parent mode, try only saying something once, and there's something called the follow-through method. So if you tell your kids to do something once, you follow through with it, or there's a punishment, and stick with that, right? So in that case, I would be eliminating second chances. I would be replacing it with the follow-through method, and that would create a new habit. There's another option, like your kids are having a tough time getting ready for school in the morning. They don't participate with it as much, and they're kind of whatever. And so you always find a tough issue with getting your kid to put their backpack on and their shoes on. So what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the go put your shoes on, and we're going to replace it with something called the two-choice method. Do you want your blue shoes or your white shoes today? They choose the white shoes. Now they're more likely to put the white shoes on, and that's going to create a new habit. Almost any niche that you look at is going to be able to create massive transformation by just getting somebody to eliminate the bad things in their life, replace it with good things, and create new habits. I was talking about marriage earlier, and for any of my married friends that are watching this, you probably heard about love languages. I talk about a version of love languages called the marketing love languages. But in marriage, there's these great love languages. So again, we want to improve our marriage. That's our end goal, right? So we're coming up with a plan to get result, okay? So we have to know what that result is. That's what your product's going to be about. So our plan is going to help me get this result. What is the result? We're going to have a better marriage. We're going to communicate better. We're going to argue less. Cool. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to eliminate conflict points, okay? So I might eliminate the way that I communicate to my wife a certain way when certain things happen. I have to identify that, obviously, so that's where you come in. You use ChatGPT and AI to find these typical points of conflict in a marriage, and then it helps you figure out psychologically, based on science, based on authors, based on YouTube videos, based on articles, all this information that's already out there. How do we eliminate that friction point? So one problem might be that we're communicating incorrectly to each other's love languages. How do we do that? Well, we got to eliminate that communication pattern, replace it by speaking to our spouse in their love languages, and that's going to create a new habit. So if I just do this thing consistently. So I'll give you a really good example. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine not long ago about their marriage, and we always talk, it's me and my wife talking to them about their marriage, kind of spitballing ideas. What do you do? What do we do? And I was telling the husband in this case, like one of the things that I did was I heard a long time ago, one of my wife's friends said something about my husband never tells me that I look good. Like we go out, I get dressed, I get my hair done. He never says like, wow, babe, you look beautiful tonight. Never says it. And I thought, okay, that's a problem because he's clearly not communicating to her in a language that she needs to hear. She wants to hear that. That's why it bothers her that she's not. So I said, okay, so I'm going to I put a plan in place myself to do this, okay, so that I would never have that problem. So my plan was I actually put in a trigger in there. So every time we get dressed up, every time she gets her hair done, I make mental note, boom, say something, right? So eliminate the normal response. Eliminate your ability to be just there, right? Eliminate that like, okay, are we ready to go? Replace it with, okay, hey, I thought you looked great tonight. Or, hey, you look really good, all this, right? So one last example also when it comes to the marriage thing, and I love giving examples just so that you guys can understand, this is how we create transformation. This is what makes us valuable. This is what's going to make you literally thousands upon tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars building digital products in spaces that you don't have to be a professional in. That example would be when I was getting ready to get married, we went to premarital counseling at our church, and the guy, we were talking about some points of conflict, and one of the things was my wife brought up, little things like him not turning his socks. When he takes his socks off, they're inside out. At the time, wasn't turning them right side in. And so I had to come up with a plan. I heard that bothered her. I said, I'm going to eliminate that habit, which was just take your socks off. I'm going to replace it by turning them inside right side out. and I am going to create a new habit. And now I don't even think about it. I just do it. It's been 10 years. I've been pretty good about it, but it probably took me about a year until it got to the point where it was just second nature, and now I just do it. But that's a transformation. And in a lot of ways, it did make my marriage significantly better, because now she doesn't think like, oh, why isn't he doing this? Does he not respect me? Whatever, right? Alleviates a lot of issues. Had somebody given me that structure to create the plan, it would have saved me a little bit of time. So that's what you're going to be building. And that's why we utilize this PERC method. Now, the one last thing that I want to kind of cover in this video so that you understand how this prompt is actually going to build this highly transformative product. If I was trying to quit smoking, you can't just quit smoking by saying quit this one thing, right? I like to do a pillar system. So if I was going to go here, marriage, right? That's my main topic. Maybe you have subcategories. I then want somewhere between 3 to 6 pillars, topic pillars that make that up, right? That make that up. And in this case, what I'm going to do, because I've done this one recently, so I want to talk more on this. And I'm actually going to, so I'll just kind of riff off the top of my head. But if we went parenting, right? I literally just did this product. So you might have obedience. That's one pillar. Maybe trust. That's another pillar. What is the other one? Discipline. Okay. Now, for this example, let's just pretend these are my 3 pillars. This is all I have. I actually built 6 pillars into mine. I just forget what they are right now. So I had AI help me figure out these pillars. And I literally, that's just an easy question. Okay, so my niche is I'm going to go into faith-based parenting based on everything that you know about, the Christian religion or whatever, the Baptist religion or whatever you're going to do. What are your 6 pillars? What would you suggest I should categorize all of my information under these 6 realms or pillars? What is that going to look like? And it would spit out something like this: obedience, trust, discipline. Maybe it would even have faith in there, all this. And then from within there, we can now start to work this out and say, okay, so what are 3 to 5 things I can do, or I would be able to help somebody with in the obedience category? So as a parent, what are the 3 things that I'm going to help this parent do that's going to increase their child's obedience? Well, now it's diving into data about obedience studies and books that are about child obedience and things that might be hindering your kid from listening and being obedient, right? You're not putting them in the right environment. You don't respond to them the right way. Maybe there's a section on communication, whatever. So it's going to give you almost all of this by using our prompt. But this is the structure in which it comes out. And this is how I make my membership products. And I think everybody could make one the same. So the products are all going to be pillar based. So this is your module, right? So I want you to imagine a members area. Okay. Kind of doesn't look like this, but it would be sectioned off like this. We're going to have an intro. So at the nearing the end of getting the guts of each one of these, you're going to tell it, okay, I need a 1-page intro that's going to describe and make more powerful the topic of obedience. We want people to know why it's important, what studies say about obedience, how quickly they can get transformation, because that's going to just give them this baseline of like, oh, cool, obedience, got it. And then you're going to have thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, and then you're going to have action notes. Okay, so this is what I do. Step 1 might be, okay, you're going to enact the 2-choice method. Step 2 is you should try this type of communication. Step 3 is you're going to do this thing. Okay, these are 3 things that you can do immediately to get more obedience from your children right away. What's great is these are 15-minute things. Nothing in here is like you have to do this for days before you make a change. Same thing with quitting smoking. Same thing with losing weight. Same thing with whatever it is. You can give people short to enact, quick to enact, transformative tips by eliminating something, replacing it with something else, creating a new habit. So obedience, we're going to eliminate the way that we communicate now, each one of these steps, what the obedience method we're using now. We're going to eliminate the one that we're doing wrong. We're going to replace it with this one, and that's going to create a new habit. And then action note is basically like a summary of the 3 things that you just covered, so that somebody can kind of go through that and it re-ingrains it in their mind. The reason we do that is there's something called the forgetting curve, and I'm not going to really show you too much here, but basically a forgetting curve kind of looks like this. These graphs are the length of time in which it takes somebody to forget something that they just learned, right? So the longer they go on the time horizon, if they only reviewed something one time, they will forget. It's actually, the stats are pretty wild. They're going to forget 90% of what they learned in 7 days. Okay, so if I teach somebody, use this 2-choice method, and they never review it again, they never read it again, they're going to lose 90% of what that method is in 7 days. Just the way that it goes, because we're always getting new information. So in our program, to create transformation, we're going to try to repeat ourselves up to 3 times. 3 times is the magic number, because what that does is, I believe it's something about, you get 50% retention after 7 days. So that is the biggest change that we're going to get. The second review is something like 78% after 7 days. So it's only 12. We can jump 28 more going that 3rd time. And all we have to do is just give them that same information more than one time in the program. So we're actually summarizing what we want them to know here. We're actually summarizing what we want them to know. So that whole summary and action step is really giving them, like, here's how you actually put this in action, but we're also ingraining it further in their mind. And so then we do that with everything. So each bullet, each pillar is going to have 5 modules at minimum for me. It's going to have an intro. It's going to have 1, 2, 3 action step, and it's going to have action notes. Here's what to do with all of these. So now if you had 6 pillars, you're talking 30 modules that you've just built out, and AI is going to do all of this inside of an hour. You can also start this with 3. You don't have to go to 6. It just depends on how passionate you are. I know, for me, for parenting, it was easy to come out with 6 because there are 6 pretty, different pillars for it. But this is how we're going about creating transformation. We're not creating courses. We're not doing all of this. We want to create as quick a transformation as possible by giving people little action steps that they can take that are going to get them closer to that result based on what AI is actually going to feed us as we go through using our prompt. So I wanted to lay this foundation for you so that you know what the outcome should be of this prompt, because you are going to have to prompt this thing. You are going to have to tell this thing, no, that's not right, right? You can't just use this prompt, and as soon as it spits out information, you're going to go, I've got my product. You're going to have to go through this. You're going to have to prompt it. But again, I built a really valuable, and if you're a parent, I think you could probably agree, hearing these 6 pillars. And what's funny is, as I was building this parent product, I was talking to my wife about it. And that's how I actually justified knowing that this is a good product. I was talking to my wife, and she was like, oh, yeah, like I do that. Like we were coming across one thing, and I forget what it was. Discipline, maybe. Discipline or obedience. And it was like how to handle getting your kid to clean their room. And that's a really useful tactic for a parent. And I found, and again, parents, feel free to let me know what you're thinking about this. One of the things that we do naturally as a parent is you go into the room and you go, your room is such a mess. You are messy, basically. And we're attacking the kid, not the mental action. You want to attack the action of the leaving your room messy, not attack the kid, you are messy. So even that one little change, my wife heard that and she was like, oh yeah, that I might be doing that. I don't think about it, but I probably handle that the same way. I probably walk in and go, why do you leave your room such a mess? Why are you doing this? And it makes the kid start to feel like I'm less than what I should be. Little habits too that you can add into this parenting thing, like every morning, have your kid say to you out loud. This is like one of the easiest things to do. Have your kid speak the words, today's going to be a good day. Because what happens is you just triggered your mind into looking for reasons that it's going to be a good day. It's just a psychological principle. Imagine walking outside and somebody says, man, I love the color red. Your mind, without you telling it to do it, is going to look for red things. Now, if I then immediately said, hey, how many yellow things are out here? You're going to go, I don't think there's any. But then you would look for yellow and you'd realize, well, there was yellow everywhere. It's just my mind was only seeing red. And so that's actually a trick that we can use as a parent. Make your kid say the words, today's going to be a good day. And then at night, have them tell you what made today a good day. Now they get to proactively get their mind looking for the reasons it's going to be a good day. And guys, as an adult, we should do the same thing. It makes your brain look for the things that are going to make today a good day. And then at night, you get to retroactively see, did I see those things? And if you did, now you have this like very like grateful way to go to sleep versus like an anxiety ridden way. This is how we create transformation. And it's cool because it's really just a system. Use this PERC method. We're going to come up. Our goal is to give everybody a plan. That plan is going to involve eliminating something, replacing it with something else. That's going to create the new space for a better habit. And that then gives us everything that we need to be able to now dive into using this prompt. So absolutely love it that you guys are here. Cannot wait to show you guys more of an over the shoulder of me using this prompt to create a product. And we're going to see what we can come up with, what the value of that product is. And then hopefully the end result of that is just you immediately afterwards making your own product, but doing so knowing that this is the case. And you can also, after now knowing what I just talked to you about as far as the plan, the PERC method and the 6 pillars, I bet you some of you are probably already going, you know what, I already kind of know what I want to build. Because if you have any experience and expertise in a space, you may see a valuable product sitting right in front of you now in your own mind going, whoa, I do help, women run better marathons in their 40s. I have helped a lot of people do that. Now I see how I can help people by helping them eliminate the things that are holding them back, replace that with something that's better, and create the new habit. I could create my own digital product right now based on that. As you hopefully have those feelings, hopefully now you can see why this is going to be so big, because now we're going to couple that in a few trainings from now with an easy system that we can use to actually sell this program and start accumulating wealth by building our own digital products. So we're well on our way. Next video, I am going to be actually covering the prompt itself. We'll give you guys that prompt so you guys can go through and start creating your own digital product. You'll see a training that hopefully I have a digital product built in less than 1 hour. My goal with that is to not only build the product, but also to build a membership area about that product that looks good and is ready for members. If I can do all of that in 1 hour, that would be hopefully just proof that you guys can do the same. So that's it. Get on it, and I'll see you in the next one.